A foreign president who promised his people he would do better than his corrupt predecessors resists extradition from the U.S. to stand trial in Peru. Once, he was the most powerful man in the country. Now, former Peruvian President Alejandro Toledo faces charges of bribery and money laundering.
It was big news in the San Francisco Bay Area when he was arrested in July 2019.
Courthouse News reporter Nicholas Iovino was there from day one.
When he was first arrested and appeared in court, I wasn't even able to cover the first hearing because so many Peruvian people showed up to the court. The courtroom was packed. The court staff, who try to accommodate the media usually and reserve seats for the press at big, high-profile court hearings, they were taken off guard and didn't have anything prepared. They didn't have an overflow room. So a lot of people showed up, and many of those people support former President Toledo. One important moment was early on in the fights over his being released on bond. When the judge denied the request, his wife, who was in the courtroom, yelled, "You'll be responsible for his death," to the judge. I remember the court security officer grabbed her wrist and kind of pulled her away and then kind of dragged her out of the courtroom. It was a dramatic moment.
It seemed unlikely that Toledo would spend his 70s in a U.S. prison cell on corruption charges. But then again, he was also an unlikely candidate for president.
He grew up in the Andes, as you know, his parents were farmers. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that's right. I'm Cynthia McClintock, and I'm a professor of political science at George Washington University. And I've been studying Peru since 1973. And I went to the coast around Chimbote, a fishing area, and he was the legend has it, and I believe it's correct, a shoeshine boy. It's at that time that he meets the Peace Corps volunteers who suggest that he, apply to university in the U.S. The Peace Corps volunteers, they become friends. And Toledo he's a very engaging person, and it's no surprise to me that he made close friends among the Peace Corps volunteers.
I read that he went to UCSF on a soccer scholarship.
Yes. Yeah, I think he said, I have no wish to judge, but Toledo said that he was a pretty bad soccer player by Peruvian terms, but by U.S. terms, he was great. So
Yo, Alejandro Toledo Manrique, juro por Dios, por la patria y por los pobres.
When Toledo was elected, what got him into office? What were the promises that he made?
Definitely democracy. Definitely democracy. This was very, very important because there were, not only was there evidence of authoritarian abuses, but it was clearly becoming worse. And Toledo had campaigned vigorously. He's the promise of someone from poverty rising up to go to Stanford to make something of himself, to become a business professor, to become a steadfast candidate in the face of risks. This was very appealing. I think starting, the economic boom was absolutely crucial. I mean, he saw the opening. I think his friendship with the United States kind of meant that there was a vision of a renewed country that would provide a stable environment for investment. Subsequently, the free trade agreement is beginning to be launched, but I think around the world there was confidence that he would kind of follow through on market principles, and Peru was one of the first countries to, basically from about 2005 to about 2015 in Latin America, there are 10 years, especially South America, there are 10 years of very robust growth. And a lot of that had to do with China's demand. But Peru was really at the forefront of that. So I think Toledo inspired a lot of confidence that he knew how to run Peru's economy.
In speeches made sense, Toledo had big dreams, not just for Peru, but for the region.
The possibility of playing a crucial role in the first world, not only in the first world economy, but in shaping a world that, while it grows it has a more equal human face.
As part of this future, Toledo directed Peru to invest in the Transoceanic Highway project. This $658 million project would run from Brazil's Atlantic coast to the Pacific shores of Peru, linking the South American countries not just to each other, but to the world. Instead, the road opened up the Amazon rainforest to deforestation and the country to debt. By the project's completion in 2012, the cost more than tripled to $2 billion. Some people blame kickback schemes like the one Toledo was accused of, calling the Transoceanic Highway the most corrupt highway in the world. Peru is accusing Toledo of taking $35 million in bribes from the Brazilian construction company Odebrecht during his presidency.
According to Toledo, this is politically motivated, and their main evidence is from two witnesses: a formerly close friend of Toledo, Israeli businessman Joseph Maman, and an executive from the company Odebrecht who says he personally delivered cash to Toledo.
Hoy en una entrevista con Univisión, Alejandro Toledo nos explicó por qué había caído tanto
Is
en las
Toledo
encuestas.
still popular in Peru?
I believe he wanted Peru to do well, that in his heart, he is basically a 99% a good person who wants to do the right thing. That said, there are long-standing norms of corruption in Peru and most developing Latin American countries. Is this issue of taking cuts on infrastructure projects. I mean, it would be too nice to say, he made just one mistake, because, this was a lot of money, but it wasn't setting a pattern so much as, maintaining a pattern or not breaking a pattern. I think it was something that virtually every president did, that to a certain extent, some presidents felt they had to do in order to keep their party together and to kind of maintain loyalties. So again, I would say it was just not breaking with the past and saying I can do better and this is wrong, but saying I'm just going to do what every other president has done and go in with that flow. And that was very, very sad. If it's true, and again, I have to emphasize that I'm not privy to this actual evidence.
The U.S. legal system does not take lightly to the argument that everybody does it.
Even though it's not their case, this is the Peru government who wants him charged. They are acting very much like that he's their target, I suppose. They fought against him getting a public defender. They said he was hiding money. They said his wife was hiding $1 million in assets and that he should not have had a government-funded public defender. They fought against him being released on house arrest. They fought against him having better conditions in jail. So, I mean, I guess that was surprising to me, is how aggressive the U.S. prosecutors were in this case.
Under what circumstances would Toledo be sent back to Peru?
Basically, the standard is a probable cause standard. The judge has to say, is this evidence that Peru has produced show that there is enough evidence to charge him, that there is probable cause that this person can be charged with these crimes? I think these are important decisions. The U.S. has to honor its treaties. But in my own reviewing of the documents and evidence against Toledo, it looks pretty strong in that there are witnesses, there's evidence of the money going to different accounts, evidence that he got at least $500,000. And according to the government, the other money was used to purchase a home and an office for his benefit, though he says that those purchases were not made for him, that they were to benefit my man. So, all of the arguments they're making are the kinds of things that traditionally are tested at trial that would not be a basis to deny probable cause to charge someone. So I think they have an uphill battle. I think it's going to be difficult for him to defeat these charges.
The U.S. court does not decide whether Toledo is guilty. But on September 28th, Magistrate Judge Thomas Hickson deemed the evidence strong enough to support the charges and ordered Toledo be sent back to Peru to stand trial. The next question is where Toledo goes from here. Does he climb back up that unlikely mountain, or does his fall from the top continue? Review Nick's deep dive into the evidence against Toledo on courthousenews.com. If you learned something new, let us know on Twitter at SidebarCNS.